So the Latino portion of the National Latino and Asian American Study is a really important baseline set of data for a number of reasons. It's a nationally representative sample. All of the interviews were done by bilingual, bicultural interviewers, so people could choose the language they did the interview in. And it really covers the Latino population. And I think, although it was done in 2002, 2003, it's still one of the best portraits of the Latino population. I think some of the things that I want to emphasize that people need to know about from this. First of all, that again, as I said earlier, there's tremendous diversity among Latinos. One key thing that people need to remember is that Puerto Ricans have been citizens for a long time, and that really changes the dynamic of their experience compared to other Latino groups who are immigrants and arrive usually as non-citizens. And then depending on the U.S. government's attitude towards those groups, their ease of becoming residents and citizens is quite variable, and this shapes the whole experience. I think another thing to realize that I emphasize in the paper is that 60% of Latinos have been in the U.S. a very long time and actually are citizens. Many, particularly of Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, the majority of them actually speak English as their primary language. What's also striking is that most Latinos spoke Spanish as children. So this transition to bilingualism or English dominance happened in their lifetimes because they came speaking Spanish. I think another important thing to recognize is that Cubans have remained Spanish dominant and much more tied to Latino culture because of the enclave they created in Miami. And I want to make a couple of points with this. First of all, I think the Cuban experience is so different because of the role of the U.S. government in supporting the Cuban community. But also the fact that they really dominate Miami and control Miami meant that they were able to achieve economically even while maintaining Spanish. So this idea that somehow if you lose your language and culture is the only way to succeed in the United States is simply false. And I think the Cuban example is a good counterexample to that. Another interesting thing about the data are that Puerto Ricans have almost as high a percentage of people earning $75,000 or more as Cubans do. And again, I think people often have the stereotype of the Puerto Rican community that Puerto Ricans are the community that were in the 1960s in New York City, where people were living in the city and they were poor. And in fact, the Puerto Rican community is quite diverse, with a large number of people with very high levels of education and high incomes, as well as a significant group that's poor. And I think one of the concerns is that, particularly for poor Puerto Ricans, citizenship has not conveyed the kind of benefits that one would expect.